Okay, once again, I know it's a lot, but crimes are consistently being committed, so it's a lot because they've been out of control for a very long time. So my phone went off. Let me get it back on again. So I called the last time at 9:28. This is the time, 11 o'clock. They told me that the officer was en route. So in the past, the government has behaved like a sadistic, jaded ex that's controlled, being, and the manner being is that my leaving has been controlled because they'll state that they're on their way and ruin my day. There's a lot of things that I just really can't discuss. So they want me to believe that someone's coming to keep me at home, and then they never show up. It has ruined a multitude of days, these schemes. Control parties have told me that they're coming and play games and then don't show up, and has ruined my whole day. Because I'm waiting on people that are playing games and don't show up. So there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of things that don't just sound realistic. I tried to report that a lot of relationships were controlled. And these gang stalkers had started relationships to terrorize. Like a multitude of these controlled relationships would engage in conversations with me and then engage in a conversation knowing I was desperate for human contact because I was been deprived of it. Even church members, terrorized and tortured. So they would deliberately engage in conversations. I showed it. Recorded it. So they would engage in conversations and then disregard me. Hey, how you doing? What you doing today? And then when I respond, they didn't respond back. And this would happen with a multitude of people, sometimes more than one in one day. So at first, before I realized it was controlled relationship, I was heartbroken and sometimes in tears because I didn't understand why church people would mistreat me like this. Engage in conversations. I've also engaged in opening up about my abuse. They disregard it, have to get off the phone and ignore it. This is church people. So anyway, I'm calling 911 back to see what happened because they were en route. That was her last conversation as they've been playing these games years. Let me call back. Okay, I'm sorry. What did I call?
911 for Dallas Police.
Okay. Yes. Are you sure this is Dallas 911?
Yes, ma'am.
Because for years, Dallas 911 has been covering up for crimes, dispatching out corrupt police if they did, depriving me of a dispatch out in emergencies. I called September 29th at 5:50 a.m. No one came. Then the 911 operator concocted that the police did take a report and cover for him not calling me back. I have it recorded where he said he was going to call me back and assist me, and he never did. Now, some kind of way she has concocted that he gave a report number to her but never gave it to me, and I couldn't even do the report. So how does he have a pre-written report number that he didn't give to me, and I didn't even tell him about my abuse? He was supposed to be sending someone out and coming for the investigation. In addition to that, he couldn't do an investigation because it was an incident report number that does not get investigated. But anyway, at 9-something, they told me that the police were en route. They still haven't showed up. What's going on? And the first time they were supposed to come out September 29th and never showed to prevent me from getting dispatched out in emergency and reporting crimes is criminal. But they've already done it for years and got away with it.
What location were the police coming out to?
I'm on hold. This is when I talked to him, and she said that they were en route, 9:28 a.m. This is the current time. But I called initially September 29th at 5:50 a.m. and no response to that. I'm trying to report domestic abuse, which the government has been covering up and enforcing for years. And they know it, and this is what they do when I try to report it. If I wasn't getting assaulted, violated, pushed and shoved, body cams cut off. This is why I had to live in a tent. You have to see it to believe it. Every single location. So you would think that, I'm looking for a job. I need to be looking for a job. I'm trying to establish the pattern that the government is preventing me from progressing and keeping me in financial abuse and other avenues of escaping this abuse. I have ran around years, traumatized, forced to live in a tent, going through this chaos. You think I willingly accepted the fact of living in a tent? I have went to multitude of locations. Look at these videos. The government just premeditates my steps. In every avenue is already coordinated to all these locations to deprive me of services before I get there. They have already done this for years. So when I already get to the locations, they know full-blown, well, they're blacklisting me from services. So they have already prearranged for all these avenues to escape their abuse to deprive me of services. Before I even talked to Black Lives Matter, I believe that they were already there. There were a lot of police on motorcycles, and that's what they do in the area to entice these people to disregard me and cover up for their crimes. They didn't give me any phone numbers, any websites, any avenues, period. They just took my information, and they tried to deprive me of the website information on the card, but I asked for it. So they were giving people T-shirts and a food voucher for chicken, which I used. So when I got the food voucher, they told me it was a free meal. But when I got there, they didn't give me fries. It was just a breast and a drink, which I was happy to get. But they told me it was a free meal. They do sabotage the food and different things of that avenue. So anyway, they didn't give me any resources to combat it, any locations when I already got there. They just took the YouTube channel and that was it. If it's Black Lives Matter and I'm a black life that seems to have mattered even at churches getting drug out of them, why would they deprive me of any avenues, any names, any locations? Instead, they just took it, and then one representative was kind of rude and then told me where to stand. You need to stand. Because when I was giving the number out, my number and YouTube channel, she said, you need to stand right here. If I told you there's child abuse involved, any particular reason why you're being rude and why did security arrive after me, as they have at multitude of locations? So I'm still waiting. What I'm trying to establish is who's controlling this. Why would the government not want me to get help with domestic violence in 911 and 311? Does that make sense? Why would the government cover for this innocent man, including the Northern District Court and the Frank Crowley Family Violence and Domestic Violence Division? We have someone that got hit with 2 different vehicles in one night and was murdered. Then we have my son getting hit with a car. We have a gang stalker hitting me with the car while I was in the car. Then we have my insurance company covering him for it because the man got caught in lies. I was there at my child's. They get out of control when I'm trying to have any access with my daughter. Period. I mean, they are completely, it's like a horror movie when I try to see my children or having access to my kids. So the gang stalker saw me all the way down the street, yet some kind of way he hit me. And when he got caught in his lies, my insurance company would not call me. They had already called me when it was when we finally, she stated, yeah, the call was kind of unusual with me too. He hung up while I was asking him questions. So he got caught in lies and hung up on my insurance company. So when I was establishing a pattern that this is probably, I was getting targeted by the government and it may be a connection. Then they lost my address and I had already updated the address. And some kind of way, no one ever called me back regarding it. I'm still on hold. This is how long I've been on hold. Actually, this is how long I've been on hold today, but my completely hold time has been years. To the degree of forcing me to live in a tent, terrified for my life, getting violated. Police used to come when I wasn't recording and intervene personally and bully, assault, violate, arrest, detain. Openly. Entice organizations to be, I mean, you're witnessing now. They know I'm recording. Look at what you're witnessing now. Can you imagine how it was when I wasn't recording? And I mean, how do you entice someone to steal child support payments? What do you say to a business, a bank, to deprive someone of funds in their account that they banked at 15 years? Probably over that. They forced me to close my account when they got caught in lies and threw my money at me and forced me to close my account. Almost $2,000 I had in the account in a crisis. And then they covered for identity theft in another situation for almost $2,000. I'm a saver. I have saved money now. I've done this years. When I have access to funds, I save. So since I have saved up some money now, that's why they have interrupted it and tried to entice my job to deprive me of working, locking me out their system multiple times, sabotaging my payroll checks, losing it a multitude of times, then just scheme with them to deprive me of the ability to even work there at all. So now, once again, my nest egg gets dwindled down because of conspirators enforcing my abuse and financial abuse. In addition to that, before they even conspired to deprive me of my job, they also deprived me of the ability to get commission. And then, but right before they gave me a raise at my job, Attorney General and another criminal scheme sabotaged and garnish my check out of corruption. The judge ordered for them to take the money that I owe from the arrears, the huge amount that the dad owes in arrearage. He still owes like 20 something $1,000 behind in child support payments. So the judge ordered for them to take my money from the arrearage until he's caught up. They will not abide by the judge's order. So they have concocted now this year, when I got my raise, that now I owe $10,000 with interest. Now they're garnishing my check, so I never saw my raise. The government, when I go to try to correct the issue, they threaten the police and scheme, try to force me to speak with the government scammers. When that didn't work, they concocted an argument and then said that I needed to leave to keep me in this madness that I've been experiencing years. When I tried to get out of that toxic environment in Itasca, where a multitude of chaos was going on that's not even realistic.
South Central Operations Officer Echoes.
This is the officer?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Dallas Police. How can I help you?
What's your badge number?
8130. How can I help you?
Why am I being deprived of law enforcement and dispatch out in my domestic violence situation as I've been deprived for years?
I have no idea, ma'am. You need to call Southwest Subdivision. That's who you need to speak to. That's what channel you live on.
Okay, well then if that's the case, why are you on the phone? I don't understand this for years. It doesn't really make a...
911 forwarded you to me, but we're not going to discuss that. You need to call Southwest.
Oh, ma'am, no, because we need to discuss criminal activity. If you got on the phone to assist me and prevent me from reporting that $5,800 came up missing in Itasca and the Attorney General lied to me about it, if you got on the phone to interrupt that and you're the wrong police department, I think that that's critical. There's something critical we need to address. So if that, I don't understand. What location, what police department are you with? It's sick. You're witnessing it with yourself. What are you doing about it? Does this endanger your safety? Corrupt government officials going to providers and enticing them to allow them to hack their phone network? They have access to scammers. Who else does that jeopardize? Like I stated before COVID. Is it safe for corrupt government officials to wander on up to a cell phone provider and say, we want to hack your network and have this party speak with our scammers? And the multiple different locations as huge as AT&T state it's okay. In addition to that, AT&T was so corrupt, they would not give me the services I paid for 2 times in 1 month period. I could not restart my services. I bought another phone in the scheme. They wouldn't activate it under a new phone. I just had to go to another provider. They would not give me the services I paid for. And the police covered for it and said they can deprive. They don't have to give me services if they didn't want to, even though I paid for them. That's a crime. It was a blatant lie. I'm tired of it. I need to get down to the bottom of it.
Boy, where's your emergency?
Where is it?
Yes, the address.
Okay, I put in a call, and it's like 911 has been committing crimes that's in fact for years. So I put in the call September 29th, as I have been for years, and it's like 911, they refuse dispatch and cover for a multitude of crimes, even life-threatening situations. So September 29th, I put in the call at 5:50 a.m., They did not respond. And around 9:30 something again today, I put in a call. Can you tell me what happened? They told me officers were en route and they keep scheming to deprive me of knowledge of what's happening with these multitude of calls. Interference with an emergency call and a 911 call is a crime. So I don't understand why they repetitively keep doing it over and over for years.
Okay, ma'am. So we do have to call in. We're just waiting for the next available officer.
That's not the lie she just told me a few minutes ago, ma'am. She told me they were en route multiple times, and then it keeps changing as it has for years. If they didn't deprive me of dispatch altogether, why would she lie and tell me that they were en route and now we're waiting on officers? Okay, it's like 911 as well as a multitude of other parties can't get their life straight, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. We have to call in for some help.
She just told me they were en route, ma'am. What happened? And what happened September 29th to 5 feet? Find out, ma'am. Find out. I have a right. Because if you are depriving me of 911 emergency calls in emergencies, that's a crime, ma'am. Figure it out. I'll wait. What happened September 29th at 5:50 a.m. and what happened today?
Ma'am. I don't know what happened.
Find out. I'm requesting because if depriving me of emergency call usage is a crime. You don't have the right to deprive me of making emergency calls in emergency. Figure it out. It's criminal. I want to
Nobody's
know.
depriving you.
Okay, you're depriving me of it now. What happened?
Ma'am, we have to call in.
What
The
happened
officer will be
September
out there.
29th at 5:50 a.m. when I called? What happened when she said they were en route? I want to know. You depriving me of that right is a crime, ma'am. If you're
I don't work
sabotaging
at
my
Prime
access to
Convenience, ma'am, so
emergency,
I don't know what happened.
we'll find out. I'll hold. I have a right to find out because it's an
Okay,
emergency
ma'am.
call. For sabotage emergency calls is a crime. I want to know what happened. We're talking about a murder, possible murder, hit by two different vehicles in one night in East Texas. We're talking about my son waiting for him to take out the trash and hit him. We're talking about me getting hit not too long ago and my insurance company covered for it. We admitted that this man was caught in lies right in front of my daughter's house. They came out the house to look at the car accident. My son is so terrorized. You could see the terror in his eyes. He looked at the car accident. The man cursed me out, called me the B word, lied and said I was trying to flee the scene. And then my son looked at it and had to go right back in and not even question his mom's safety. They have access to my YouTube channel. How heartbreaking is that for your son to witness you in a car accident getting demeaned and degraded by this man that hit her, and then you have to go back in terror. And you can't even aid your mom, show any compassion. He did call, and he was very upset. You could hear it in his voice, and asked me what happened, but he can't talk to me. I rarely speak to my family. I have no support with the church, nowhere, because they just interrupted. Family members, domestic violence organizations, the government abuses power to enforce abuse, and I'm tired of it. They need their consequences.
Okay, so you'll be out there.
You had me on hold to figure out why I keep making these phone calls and nothing is done. I would like to know what happened September 29th at 5:50 a.m. And I would like to know why she told me they were on their way and blatantly lied.
Okay, ma'am, just talk to the officers once they
No,
get out
I am
there.
not asking that. You're depriving me of knowledge to know what happened with dispatch is a crime. You have no right to tamper with evidence. I would like to know what 911 did and what's in the reports. Why would you keep me from that information? That's what I was on hold for.
Okay, I need the number to open records.
No. Y'all have rights. I would like to know what happened at 9 something. You don't need to give me the number to open records to cover for crimes. I want to know why she told me that they were on their way at 9 something and it's 11:19 and they still haven't showed.
She didn't say that they was on the way.
She did. It's a blatant lie. She said that they're en route. They're en route. I show that officers are en route.
Okay, the call is in, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No. I'm not being heard.
Yes,
I want to know what happened because I'm deliberately trying to enforce and expose criminal activity. To interrupt 911 calls is a crime, and you've gotten away with it years. I have a right to know what happened. I don't have access to my records. They commit crimes there too. I want to know why she lied and told me that they were en route and they're not. Why did I call September 29th, 5:50? I'm trying to expose the fact that 911 and the government is depriving me of access to get out of abuse, down to the degree of interrupting emergency calls and falsifying information in my reports. I'm purposely trying to expose that. So if you deprive me of the right to know why this operator lied and told me they were en route and they weren't, there would be evidence that you are committing a crime, which is what I wanted to do. I want to know why she told me they were en route, and you depriving me of that information is criminal. I want to know what happened with my prior 911 call.
Ma'am, the call is in. An officer will be out there.
No, ma'am, I'm not being heard. She told me they were en route. What happened?
Okay. Well, ma'am, I'm telling you that the call is in.
No. We need to have someone pull the call and figure out why she lied. It's been going on
I'm
years.
looking at the call right now.
No, ma'am, you're lying, ma'am. She told me that they were en route. Okay. Well, I'm not being heard. The call can be pulled. This is what my credit card company did when it was bank fraud. Games and enforced it. They told me that they can put tips on as they saw fit when they wanted to, and I was being forced to take the tips that they had set up. They said that they gave me information and kept hanging up when I wanted to evidence that they had this policy. Their tip policy is if I go eat at restaurants, they can add on tips because I that's what I do. You know, I go out to eat. That's how I treat myself. I'll go to a nice restaurant and eat. So he wanted to interrupt that. So they put in their own tip. That's what they did. Even when it was fast food, they put in their own tip. And then they lied and said,
Ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I have been asking for supervisors a long time to pull these calls where 911 operators were covering for crimes and depriving me of dispatch in emergency situations, which is a crime. At 9 something, the operator told me that the police were en route, and then it changed. So I'm concerned because this has been happening years. 911 has been playing games when I was in life-threatening situations. I've had guns pulled on me, ran off the roads, hit and runs. So I feel like I'm in a dangerous situation if 911 continues to conspire with crimes and deprive me of the ability to make emergency calls, which is criminal. That endangers my safety. If I cannot call 911 in emergency situations and the police department and 911 are conspiring with abuse, that's not safe for me.
Okay, how many times are you calling, ma'am?
We're deflecting, ma'am, for some reason. What's your name?
Proctor. Proctor.
Okay, do you have a ID number or anything?
I just gave you my name. That's my ID.
Oh, okay.
So
we're deflecting, ma'am. We're deflecting on the fact that interrupting someone making a 911 call is a crime, as they have been doing years. So you have not tried to give me a resolution and pull the calls and make sure these operators don't commit that crime. That's I think it's a Class A misdemeanor. I'm not quite, I know it's a misdemeanor crime. So for some reason, all supervisors enforce the crime and won't pull the footage, the phone calls.
Well, ma'am, let me tell you what you can do. You can contact.
Oh, you might, ma'am. Let me tell you what your job is. Let me tell you what your job is.
You can't tell me what my job is.
Well, you don't know it, ma'am, because your responsibility is to make sure that these
people of this complaint.
Ma'am, I'm trying to inform you what your responsibility is and what the other people were doing before you. Okay, ma'am. What you're supposed to do is, if someone is your supervisor, you're supposed to pull the calls and hold the parties responsible for depriving someone of emergency dispatch and emergencies. That's what you're supposed to do, ma'am. Not cover for it.
Okay, anything else?
No, I'm just trying to help these people get the felonies that they've earned years. How long do you think you guys are going to continue to get away with this?
Okay. Is there anything else that
I want to know what happened at 9 something when she said that she was coming. Police were en route and they never came.
Okay, so do you need police to come out to your location?
Ma'am, I'm asking what happened at 9 something.
I'm asking you, do you need police to come out to your location?
Well, you don't want me to know what happened? Why would you deprive me of an update of what happened with the prior call? Isn't that a crime?
Do you need police to come out to your location now?
What happened at 9 something this morning? Can you pull the call and see why she told me that they were on their way, why I would get deprived of help in my crisis, in a domestic violence crisis, as it's been done years? Even worse, okay. I would be in tears when I wasn't recording a lot of abuse from 911 operators.
Okay. Ma'am, do you need police to come out there at that location right now?
Are you depriving me of the right to know what already happened? I've already called ever since September 29th.
Okay, how police came out to the location?
That's you don't want me to know? I thought that's what the records you have.
Ma'am, how police came out to your location? You said
Can you look, today, ma'am? Correct? Are you refusing to do your job task and look and see what happened, ma'am?
Let's start over again. What is your name?
I called October 3rd, and then I called September 29th, and I've been deprived of, assistance in crisis, in emergency situations for a long time, where I couldn't even get help under the radar, and people didn't even know what I was going through. For extreme events, getting ran off roads, trapped on trains, all kind of chaos, thefts by police, harassment that I couldn't do anything for because I wasn't recording, and I just wasn't getting anything accomplished. So I was terrorized, and it went under the radar because there was no evidence.
Okay, but for today, I can't help you.
Well, I'm trying to figure out for September 29th, ma'am. We're disregarding the situation. You're covering for it again. I don't know why 911 does that. Depriving someone of the ability to report emergency situations is a crime, ma'am. We're deflecting. So I did call September 29th. Are you coming for crimes getting stern with me, ma'am? I don't understand why this has been happening years. September, you're slandering me, ma'am. Gaslighting me to enforce crimes is not acceptable.
Okay, let's stop right now. Do you need police, fire, or ambulance
September 29th, I called to report a domestic abuse situation.
No, Miss Clark. Do you need police, fire, or ambulance?
Are you depriving me of an update of emergency calls, ma'am? Isn't that a crime? So you're depriving me, you're a supervisor, and you're depriving me of the status of emergency calls, a multitude of them, which would show a pattern of abuse from the emergency call system, which is criminal? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. This is extreme amount of felonies. What they interrupted me in their con was trying to establish the fact that I think I was talking about the $5,800 that came up missing. I think that's what I was communicating, and then they interrupted it. So $5,800 came up missing with the Attorney General. And then when they got caught in that crime, when I wrote and stated that I didn't get a cent, then they put it on the card. But had I got that money, I would have immediately moved out of this toxic community with gang stalkers being watched on surveillance and the police enforcing it and not doing an investigation with evidence and covering for all of this chaos that I experienced in that community, which was a lot that I can't even report. I didn't know that these things existed, so I was completely naive. Who knew that the government can be enlisted in abuse to this degree? I didn't know cows could be counterfeited. That's why people keep getting robbed. A lot of people don't know that. So while I'm on hold, yes, so going from place to place, they would actually be there waiting on me to terrorize and intimidate me for getting services at churches, domestic violence organizations. And keep in mind, I was assaulted at New Beginnings in Garland, Texas, and arrested for just sitting at a support group. They're abusing power, doing like this big sting operation to enforce their abuse. So before I get there, just simply going to wash my car, enticing them to slip my car seat. Just simply trying to get my windshield fixed, sabotaging that, bending my blades, and other things that you didn't see. They didn't work, period. Since I know my life, so I went back, I looked, and I checked, because I know they do these things out of malice. They've been getting away with it years. So I checked, they wouldn't come on at all.
Thank you for holding.
They can politely interrupt.
Okay. So do you need police, fire, ambulance at that location?
And I'm sure what I was on hold for, I asked you what happened those multitude of times I already called. Because if people continue to get away with crimes and deprive me of dispatch and help in emergencies, that's criminal. So I want to know what happened all the other times I've already called and they never came. In fact, I've experienced this years.
Okay, so let me explain this to you. I'm trying to explain to you. If you want to know what happened with those calls, you can go request open records.
Ma'am, that's not correct. If someone's in an emergency situation and you tell them to go to the records department and get a status of their prior report, and update, that's a crime, ma'am.
Okay, well, go ahead on the file. Go ahead on it. Do you need police to come out there so you can file?
So you're depriving me of what happened a few minutes ago, and you want me to go? I'll go all the way to get records that they're depriving me of.
Do you need
put me on hold. They're not. They haven't came for years.
Okay, ma'am. Do you need police, fire, ambulance at that location?
Ma'am, are you depriving me of an update of what's going on? You don't want me to go know what's going on with my report, ma'am?
I'm going to release the line.
Ma'am, I want to know what has happened with my prior calls.
Monica, what's your emergency?
Yes, why? I don't understand. I've already made a multitude of calls. 911 keeps telling me, do I want to dispatch for officers? I've already done it since September 29th. Why won't they give me the status of the calls I already made and keep asking me if I want to dispatch officers? I'll keep doing it and they won't show. Can you tell me what has happened with all the other attempts, including one just a few hours ago that was supposed to be en route? Why would 911 commit these heinous crimes and continue to get away with it? These are crimes that are not getting investigated.
What is the address? Still, so police have to be assigned.
Okay, they've already told me what happened September 29th.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so you don't want me to know what happened September 29th, and I've been calling ever since then. So today, now it has changed for one is en route to they have one on the way. What's going on now?
So the police came on the 29th.
Okay, now the con is the police came? You don't know, and now they came.
I'm looking at the call from 29th. Police came, and they were in contact with you. Your name is Kiana Nicole Clark, which is who they spoke with.
He wants people to go look at his channel. That's so they have to say my whole name. They forced me to put it on my driver's license so people can look at my whole name and see the chaos that he put in, the cyberbullying.
So you tell me what happened on the 29th, if you was the one that talked to the police, because I wasn't there. I work here at the call center.
Psychological abuse.
So you tell me what happened on the 29th.
Okay, so the police, let me make sure I understand. So I call for an update, and you want me to tell you what the update is, and I call for it?
You asking me. I didn't bring up the update. You asked me. I'm asking you. You were the one that spoke with the police. I'm not the one that spoke with the police, and I'm not a police officer. So So I was not in contact with you on the 29th. So if you want to know what happened on the 29th, that's something you need to take up with yourself. The call that you have placed for today is in for police to come. So once they have an available officer to assign to your call, they'll be on the way.
Okay, so I called for an update, and you said I need to consult with myself for an update.
The call that they have in for today right now?
September 29th, I called for an update on what happened, and you said I need to consult with myself for an update, and I called for clarity on the update.
That spoke with the police. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you said they came out?
They did.
Okay, they didn't, ma'am.
Okay, well, for the call today, they have someone call in for a police to come.
Okay, so then I called at 9-something, and she stated that they were en route.
I'm not sure who you spoke with at 9-something, but right now at 11:34, you're speaking with Operator 33, and I'm telling you that there's a call in for police to come.
Well, yeah, but there's been a call in ever since September 29th, and for years, and nothing has been done. I'm just trying to establish that pattern, and like I've stated, interrupting 911 emergency calls is a crime. And 911 has done it a multitude of times, down to the degree of depriving me of law enforcement for being attacked, pickpocketing, robberies, assaults. A multitude of them. It would happen consistently. Poisonous snakes on property, right in feet away from my tent.
Okay. Well, they have a call in for police.
But some kind of way, all these crimes that are racking up have been under the radar. They're not coming. They haven't came for years. Okay, ma'am, we'll see how this works. They're not coming.
All right, have a good day.
They are not coming. They have for years. This is just the idea of how a person would feel if the government is enlisted in abuse. You know, it's sick. So I just have to sit and marinate in all these extreme events the government has racked up, not having civil rights as even to the degree of even getting mail. Then when the government got caught in their crimes, I keep on trying to make you guys see, no one had rights. Maybe if I went to OCBF church in October of 2018 and begged for help, they played games then before COVID. I don't know what was going on, depriving me of any support then. And then, all of a sudden they didn't have rights either with COVID. Am I saying they're related? I don't know, because it escalated to a degree that I just was unbelievable. But I just know that I didn't have civil rights. And then when the government got caught in committing crimes, violating my civil rights in this huge a conspiracy with evidence, supporting evidence, then everything shut down. And I couldn't expose what I uncovered. Including to the degree of shutting down Social Security Administration, embezzled paid child support payments, stolen food stamps, and Social Security benefits. When they got caught in their corruption, no one had rights with COVID. My life has been in jeopardy. Anyway, this is a video diary.